So, good afternoon, guys. My name is Mahino Barak, and I welcome you to our second lecture of mobile application development with a focus on practicals. In the previous class, I introduced you to that programming language. We also looked at different reasons of why we may need to implement or to learn the Flutter framework that enables us to make mobile application with simplicity. We also look at all those reasons why we made such a kind of decision. So I hope at this moment you have completed practicing the previous class tasks and you're ready to proceed with where we stopped in the previous classes. So today we are going to proceed with that programming, though I'm going to introduce to you another tool that you'll always need as a developer, and that is called source code version controlling. So version controlling, code version controlling is the way how we can keep our code well organized as well as collaborating with other teams. Other people on our team. So as you are about to finalize this year, I believe your course, I believe you're going to be requested to do a certain final project. So realize that if you do a final project, you most of cases you'll do it in groups. For example, they can ask 4 people to team up and then they do a project in group. So there's a challenge that we always meet when we are managing our source code, most especially when we are doing it in team. So we realize that most way of how students do it is that you'll find that it is only one person who will do the development, the other person will do maybe the presentation, and the other person will do maybe the money payment, doing this and that, and another person will be there just masquerading. So that is how we always do it. But the right way would be everyone has to contribute in every section of a project. So if it is coding, everyone at least have to write some lines of code. That is how it's supposed to be, because when you graduate, everyone is going to go to their own ways, and you will not be together again, do such kind of collaboration when someone is. So you need to produce results. So you realize that if we say that we're going to write in the same project, like one should do a home page, another one should do footer, another one should do header, another one should do the body of a certain page or a certain project, you realize that it will become so problematic to put all things together, since we will write in different files. So you'll do one file, again come and another one is doing it on a different computer, again you come and merge. So you'll find it's really problematic to do what? To manage a single project when the tasks on that particular project are being distributed into what? Into different people. So that's when we realize that we may need version control, code version control softwares to help us collaborate together. For example, when you are working on a certain project, we can all write in the same file at a particular time, and then when we save changes, everyone on that particular project are able to see the changes. So that helps us not to do kind of a repetition work, as well as saving much more time. And another advantage of such softwares, they help us if you do a mistake. Maybe if you do a mistake in a certain piece of code and you have closed your computer, in a normal way, once you close the computer, once you shut down the computer, you cannot undo again. So it means that you'll have to rewrite your code or to redo the whole thing. So version control, they help us also to be able to fall back or to undo even the changes that you had deleted. You can even you can retrieve them back. So you have different softwares for version control systems. We have different systems for version controls. Have one called Bitbasket, another one called GitLab, another one called GitHub. So the most popular one that is leading on top is called GitHub. So since you are saying that you're going to concentrate on good practices, so I mean that I'm going to introduce you to GitHub, and I show you how and why you need the GitHub in your life as a as a programmer. So I hope some of us here already know GitHub, but still keep around and attentive. Maybe you can learn something new that you didn't know. And those who didn't know anything about GitHub, this is your chance for you to know something that you really need in a simple way, other than first passing through a lot of problems and then do what? And then realize later. So, if you go ahead and search Git, so you realize that Git is there on internet, and then the first search result will tell you what is meant. Git is a free, open source distribution version control designed to handle everything from small to very large project. So that is the version control system that will do what? That will help us. Now, it was invented in 2005. So you can come and learn much more about what? About Git. Then you have GitHub. So GitHub, it is now a software that helps us to communicate with Git with simplicity. So it means that it's GitHub that depends on what? On Git. So you can read also much more about GitHub, and it was invented in what? In 2008. This one came later than the other. So with that much said, much of things you'll understand them as we're implementing, but you can also go ahead and search more and learn more about GitHub. So why am I bringing GitHub at this point? Because I want you to know that you'll need it as a developer. For example, you're developing your piece of code. Today, maybe you have an idea, you start writing or something, and then you lose that computer. So what will you do tomorrow? So will you again start afresh? Or let's say that you've developed something for like 3 months, and then your laptop crashes. So does it mean that you should start afresh? So by the use of Git and GitHub, you'll be able to retrieve your code because you'll be saved on what? On internet. I mean on GitHub. So you can come and learn more how Git works, how GitHub works. You can learn more and understand. So that is a simple demonstration of a picture. So we will have GitHub on the server, on internet, and then your computer. So when you add a certain file, this information will first be saved on your computer as a commit, and then you can go ahead and push it and save another source on what? On internet. So if you have multiple people that you're working on a different project, they can go ahead and start communicating with that particular project that is on internet without making what? Without making conflicts. So that is the best way I could introduce GitHub to you, but let's go into practicals and I show you why and how you need, how and why you need GitHub, and then we see how we can implement it. So by the end of this class, I will make sure that at least everyone should have the idea. You might have not understood it exactly, but at least you should have the idea that version controls exist and you need GitHub. Also, by the next class, everyone here will have added me as a contributor to their project on GitHub, so that I should be able to trace your works and tell that you guys you're really working or you're not working. So with that much said, let's see how we can install GitHub. I'll share with you a separate video that will take you step by step on how you can install GitHub on your Windows machine, on your Mac, or on your Linux. I've already prepared that video and I'll share it with you. So to install GitHub, the first thing you first install Git. So just search Git download. So come here to search results, and then you'll see download Git as the first search result. go ahead and download it and install it on your what? On your computer. So if you're using Windows, go ahead and put it on Windows. If you're using Mac, go ahead and put what? On your Mac. So me, I'm using Mac. I can go ahead and simply click download button, which is here and straightforward. When I click, it will start downloading, and I'll be able to do what? To install it. So once you install GitHub successfully, you'll have to add it in your environment. So if you install GitHub successfully, then it means, if you install Git successfully, it means that you'll be able to start running Git commands. So that is as simple as that. No much Chinese, not too much confusion. So for example, me, I already have GitHub, so I don't need to download it again. So I can go ahead and run Git commands in my terminal or in my command line. So this is my command line. So I can simply write Git, and then I'll be able to see everything about that Git that is installed. So make sure that if you write in your terminal, some people have Git in their computers, but they don't know also that it's there. So before you install, you can as well first test. Open your terminal and write the word Git and see if it is already there. So if it's not there, they will tell you that the command was not found. So just simply search Git and install it as I've shown you. And I'll share the video that gives advanced more information about that. So if I write Git and I put -- version, I can be able to tell the Git version that is installed in my computer. I'm having the latest, which is 2.3.0. Okay? So if you at this point, then it means that yes, you're good. You now have GitHub in your computer. So here you can start running commands like cloning a repository, or starting a repository to your what? To your device, as well as managing the whole GitHub. So this Git has got a lot of what? A lot of commands. So if you write Git and then help, you'll see the commands that you need to get started with what? With GitHub, with the explanations. But sometimes we don't need to stretch so much, most especially when we are beginning. So GitHub created for us an interface that converts these commands into the interface, or it created for us a software that converts these commands into graphical interface. So instead of me figuring out what is meant by grep or git grep, print lines, matching what, so instead of me memorizing these, I can use the GitHub software, at least to get started. Then along the way, I can learn these few commands. But it is good also to get started with what? With this. So the next thing that we're going to do, we are going to install the GitHub so that we can be able, the GitHub software so that we can be able to do what? To manage these very commands using seriously. It's just, guys. Sina. Sikulimba Jessica Murumya na Murumya. Sikulimba. Sialila Murumya ngimkulimba. Kansomese. Sina. Let me go and check, but I don't think it's there. Guys, you give me just 1 minute. I'm coming back. Just a minute. We're now going to install the GitHub software so that we can use it can help us to convert these commands into what? Into the interface. So go ahead and say GitHub for desktop. So you'll see the link will be there. And then if you're using Windows, you'll see download for Windows. So if you're using Mac, whether it's M1 chip or what, you'll see you'll write downloads here. So if I want to download for Windows, I can as well click here and then download for Windows. Then you'll go ahead and install the GitHub software. I believe at this level, installing cannot be so much. Just download and then open the file. It will install straightforward. So after installing the software, the next thing you'll have to create an account on GitHub. So GitHub is a section or is a software, is now the site where your content will be saved, okay? Or where the content will be saved. And in case you want to retrieve it and you don't have the software, you can simply directly come to GitHub and manage it. So to create the GitHub account, just simply go to github.com. github.com. I hope you guys have somewhere to note, okay? Most especially if these things are new to you. So once you go to github.com, just click on sign up if you don't have an account. So when you click on sign up, you'll receive a form that will take you step by step. For example, I already have an account. They ask if you have an account, you go ahead and sign in. So here, you'll wait for it to load. When it finishes loading, they'll ask you to provide your username, and then you provide your name. They'll ask you to provide your name, your username, and then you provide your email, and then you'll be able to set the new account, which is really straightforward. My internet is a bit slow, so I'll skip that part, okay? But it is really straightforward in a way that they ask you to enter your email, you enter the email. So if this email is totally new and it's not there, you can proceed. But for me, I already have an email. Then you create a new password, okay? And then you proceed like that. And then after, you successfully have an account. So once you have an account on GitHub, it means that you can now start managing your repositories, or you can start managing your pieces of source code using what? Using the Git and GitHub. So this is my account. For example, this is my account. These are my repositories that you see here. If I click on show more, I'll see all the repositories that I've ever created and worked on. So this is where I can manage my profile and the rest, changing the password and the rest. I can manage it from there. So you see, so you'll have a unique name on GitHub, which will be your username. So when someone puts GitHub stroke your username, they'll be able to see your works. So for some for some companies which know what they are doing, they'll check your GitHub if you've really done something before they even do what? They even employ you. So you can see here for me I have around 71 repositories that I've already done. So with that much said, now I'm already logged in, I've already created an account, I've already installed the software there. Now I need to start managing my piece of source code using GitHub. That is what everyone here is going to do. So it's going to be a requirement to everyone here. Now I'm going to open my GitHub software that I've just installed. To open it, I'll just simply come to Windows, to my all apps, and I search for GitHub. So when you open GitHub software, it will look like this. Okay, it will look like this. Don't worry whether you're using Mac or what, but the interfaces will be exactly the same. I don't know why my things are in dark mode. Let me remove the dark mode so you can look things in a normal. You can look at things in a normal way. Yeah, baby. Yeah. So your software will basically look like this when you open it for the first time. So they'll ask you to sign in. So when you're going to sign in, you just simply find a button. You see, you can find it here, and then you'll sign in by just simply clicking on sign in, and then they will open your browser, and then you'll go ahead and log in. So once you log in, this software will be linked with your with your GitHub account that you've just created. So we are going to learn a few things. We're not going to learn everything about GitHub, but we're going to learn a few things that are going to help us to get the concept of GitHub, as well as getting started with GitHub as a version control software. So now that we have completed setting up our environment of GitHub, so the next thing is going to be to create our first repository. Okay, we're going to create our first repository. And that is going to be, so for me, I'm going to create a place where I'll be saving my code that I'll be teaching you, or that I'll be using, that I'll be practicing to teach you. And then you're going to also create your personal repositories that you're going to use to practice all the codes that you'll be practicing for that. So you'll invite me to those repositories so that I should be able to trace and make sure that everyone is really doing things other than pretending that you're doing yet you're not doing. So that will be, it will help us to also help, it will also help you to understand how to implement GitHub in your daily life. So that is it. Now let's go ahead and create our first repository. So to create a repository, first you first determine where, the first thing you have to first determine where we're going to save your what? Your data. So for me, I always save my data in the GitHub folder. I create a special folder for GitHub where I save my repositories. So I'm going to create a new folder that I'm going to use to save the codes that I'll be using to practice for. So I'm going to go ahead to create a new repository. So we'll see where there is file and then say new repository. So when you click on the new repository, this is a form that you'll get to do to create a new repository. By the way, there's something called also clone, and I will explain it, what is meant by cloning. So I'm going to create my new repository. I'm going to call it learn dat, or learn program, or how should I call it? Maybe Flutter mobile app development. So let me call it learn dat programming. Learn underscore dat. Okay, or let me call it dat programming. So that is one of how you can create a repository. You can create it on your local machine, or you can even create it from GitHub here, from the software, from the website of GitHub, and then click on new. It is always the same procedure. So for me, I prefer creating it from the software. So instead of me writing the commands, I can use this. So I can say that programming, or I can call it learn that. Okay. So I'm going to learn that programming. Okay. So after doing that, I can write here the description of my project. Okay. I can write maybe learn that programming from 0 to intermediate. Okay, so that is my description. And then I'm going to select a section where I need to save this project or this information. So I'll go ahead and say choose. So I'll select, and then I go to my desktop, I go to GitHub. So according to how you organize your computer, so it is up to you how you do it, how you organize it. So I'm going to put it here under GitHub, okay, in this folder, and then say open. So it means that this project is going to be saved in this particular folder. So if I want to put the README file, I can click, and then the README file will be created. And then I go ahead and click on create repository. So this repository has been created successfully. So it means that they have just created a folder that is compatible with GitHub. So if I go to my folder, this is this one on top. If I open it, I'll find that folder. Let me open it. This folder here, and I'll find the folder that I just created. This one, learn that programming. So there are some other files that are hidden that I cannot see, but if you know how to unhide, you can see there are some .git attributes that will help Git to understand how to manage your project. They are hidden, but for me, I've unhide them and then I hide them back again. So I've successfully created my repository, but this repository is still on my machine. It has not been published yet. So if I want to publish it, I'll just simply click on publish repository. So when I click on publish repository, this pop-up will come, and then I'll go ahead and complete and publish it. So the first is the name of repository, which is learn.programming. I can leave it the way it is. And then the other thing is the description. The description also leave it the way it is. And then the other thing is the privacy of this code or the project that I'm going to do. So they will ask me whether I need to keep this project private or I need to leave it to be public. So if you hear things that are called open source, like WordPress and the rest, their source code are public. So if you go to GitHub, let me show you. If I go here and search WordPress GitHub repository. So can you see it is public? So that's what's meant by something being called open source. So this is the whole source code of WordPress, if you didn't have an idea. So if I want to download the source code of WordPress, I can download it from here. If I want to look everything inside WordPress, I can get from here. So if you come here to branches, you see, you can see different versions of WordPress. So when WordPress changes a new branch, you see, they will call it a what? A complete branch. So the advantage here is you can even access the first source code of what? Of WordPress, which is WordPress 1.5, 17 years ago when it was created. So can you see? If you click there, you can even see that source code of the first version of WordPress. But imagine if we didn't have GitHub. This code would be deleted long ago and you can't access it. But the advantage of version control, you can even see, you can create new branches. So when you create a new branches, you leaving the current code as it is and you duplicate it and then rebuild on a new branch that we just created. They might sound a little bit confusing, but all what I need is you to get the idea. So you see, this is the WordPress that was there the first time, which was 2006. So you can still go ahead and get the whole code that was there 2006, 17 years ago. So it has came, so until now. So the whole point is, by the use of GitHub, you can be able to trace. So why am I able to access all the source code of WordPress? Because it is open source. But WhatsApp, for example, something like WhatsApp is not an open source project. So you cannot access its code. So WhatsApp is not open source, so it means that you cannot access its source code. Now, if you want your code to be private, so if you don't want your code not to be open source, so you'll keep it as private, meaning that no one will not access it apart from those that will allow to access. If you want it to be open source that everyone can access it, maybe, and they are able to contribute to it, you keep this one as what? As public. Okay? So you uncheck this. So I've unchecked it because I want you to be able to access my source code. So I'll go ahead and publish. So when you publish, it will process and then it will show you that it has been published successfully on GitHub. So you may wait for a single minute as it's doing the whole logic of sending your project to the GitHub. So it is being published. So once it publishes, I will come to my repository, and if I refresh, can you see? If I refresh, I'm able to see the project. So if I click on the project, you see it is being updated, and this time you say changing here 10 seconds. So it has not finished published. So it has just has been published. Okay. So if I click on this project, I can see everything about this project. So if you go on that side, wherever you are, if you go to my project, which is, if you search Mobahood, that is just my AKA, my funny name that I use for business. and search it on internet, you'll see my GitHub. And then if you come to my GitHub right now, you'll see this repository. Click on repository, you'll be able to see my project that I've just uploaded right now. So that's beautiful, and the project is empty. It does not have any piece of source code. So I'm going to create my first branch, and I add there the source code. So once the project is published, I can go ahead and open it in Visual Studio Code, or I can even click show the folder. When I click show folder, they'll show me where this project is. Okay? If I say open in Visual Studio Code, GitHub will help me and show open this project in Visual Studio Code straight without me hassling to drag and drop. So now here it is. Okay? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get all my previous files that I had created, those ones that we're using for programming, for practicing. I'm going to get them and paste them here, so that you should be able to get them also from your side. You should be able to get my pieces of source code from your side. When I update, you're able to get those ones. So to do that, I will simply come to my... I know those who know GitHub, they're already bored. But don't worry. We're gonna proceed. We're taking care of those who didn't know AMP. So I'm going to go to my project. I think I had put on desktop here, and it was under programming, this folder. I think it is this one. Is it this one? Where did I say them? I forgot. Was it learn that? I think it was in learn that, yeah. Yeah, this one. They are here. Okay? So these are the files that we practiced last time. But these files were not being tracked by GitHub. So it means that if my computer crashes right now, I'll lose everything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this one and put them in a GitHub folder so that I should start tracking them. So to do that, there are two ways. I can either drag and drop them here in Visual Studio Code, or I'm going to open my Git folder. So I say show in Finder. For those in Windows, I think they will be show in Explorer, something like that. Okay. So I'm going to drag and drop this one in the GitHub folder that I've just created. So it means that I've created the changes in this GitHub folder. So every time you create a change, you will see GitHub will automatically detect it, that in the folder or in the folder that you've just created, there's a new change that has just been made. So if I come here to my Visual Studio Code, which has the GitHub folder open, you can see these files are green, and which means that there are new changes that have just been created. So Visual Studio Code understands how we need GitHub. So it comes with a tag of GitHub, or the terminal of GitHub integrated there. So what you do, you have to click on GitHub and log into your account. You'll find a login button there, you see, and log in to your GitHub account. You see, me, I'm already logged in. When you click on login to launch it will launch Google Chrome and you log in. So that when you make changes, again, you don't need to go anywhere. You can just simply do all the GitHub operations within Visual Studio Code. Are we together? I hope so. So now you see GitHub shows that I have 4 files, means 4 changes. Now these changes can change anytime. Okay, so they have not been sent to my computer, to my repository. See, if I refresh here, there are no changes that have been sent to my computer, to my GitHub account online. So if I want to send these changes to my GitHub account online, the first thing that I'll have to do is to first commit. So what is the meaning of commit? Commit means that you confirm whatever you have changed, you are sure with your minds, with your understanding, you're not crazy, you're okay. You confirm these changes are okay, so you should confirm them. It means just like as the word means, it's called commit. So commit means that this part you are assured that you not make a mistake, so it should be saved in GitHub. They are saved, but they are not saved in GitHub. That's the meaning of commit. So to commit, there are two ways. One way, you can either use the software. The other way, you can use the Visual Studio Code. The other way, you can use the terminal. So you see here, when I click on GitHub, you see, I'll click here so I can even reverse back the changes. Here they'll show me how the file was before and how it is at this moment. So I can compare every file. So if I want to commit, I'll just simply come to, so I'll show how you can commit. So once you logged into Visual Studio, okay, let us begin the software. So once you have selected here the repository, okay, so you can commit. So to commit, every commit will go with the comment, so that if you want to go back, you can simply remember from the comment. Or when you commit, this commit will also be shared with your with your teammates, so that they should know what you have really added or what you have removed in your in the project. So I'm going to make my first commit. As I told you, the commit will go with with a comment. So this is what we call commit summary. So I'm going to put here my commit. Maybe I can call it my first commit, or I can say maybe first changes. You can put a creative word that can explain clearly or can help you to remember what you did in this particular commit. So I go ahead and click on commit. So instead of writing that line, I don't need to do that. So what I committed, so even though I close the computer, this file can be traced back. But they are not published on internet, or this file have not been published on internet. So if you have somewhere to note the meaning of that commit, now you have noted it, as that you should know what it means. So to publish these things on internet, or to send these changes on my copy of version of code that is on internet, I will do what we call pushing. So pushing, as it sounds, it means that you're sending these changes to the copy of your source code that is on GitHub online. Someone should mute their microphone if they have nothing to say. Okay, so that's what we call push. So not the word push down. Push means you're sending your changes to online. So I'm going to go ahead and push here. So you see, I click on push. So when I click on push, it means that my changes that I've just committed are going to be saved now online. So even though I change this computer right now, Sijibanja, as in I have nothing that I need from it, I can get another computer, I log in, then I do what we call cloning. Cloning means getting a copy that's on GitHub and I clone it to my another computer, and then I pull. Pulls means getting the changes that is on internet and pull them to your computer. So I've successfully published them. So now if I come here to my version code, so these are now a copy is now on internet. So whoever team member that I'm working with, they can simply pull and they get also these changes. So there, wherever you are right now, if you go to my GitHub account and go to my repositories and go to this project that I've just created, and then click on it and you refresh, you'll be able to see my first branch, which is called the master branch, the main branch, okay? And the file that I've just added. Can you see them? They are there. Hope you can see them. So anyone in the world right now, they can see my pieces of code. So if you click on this file, you can be able to do what? To trace. So that is what you're going to do also. That is what you're going to do. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing. Maybe if you're working in a team and you want your team members to contribute. And this is very crucial. This is what everyone or each of you is going to do, okay? This is what every one of you is going to do. You're going to invite me to your project so that I should be able to see if you're really doing something or if you're not doing something, okay? So to invite another person to start contributing to your project, you just simply come to the project and click on settings, and then and then click on collaborators. Okay, so you click on collaborators, they will ask you to first enter your password to confirm if you're really the one. So you click on collaborators, this is the section now where you can start adding your team members. Okay, so you guys are going to add me as collaborators for your practice projects, so that I can make sure that you guys are really doing shit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on add. So when you click on add a collaborator, means that you're adding another member. So I can add my email, I can add my username. So this is my, not this account, this is more, okay, so it cannot show me my own account because I cannot add myself to a collaboration. So I can add this guy, or I can remove him, or I'll give you the email that you'll have to add. Okay, so you can put here an email. So that's my email. I'll share with you the email. So I can go ahead and invite this person. I say add. So when I invite this guy, he will get an invitation on their in their inbox. For example, let me show you how it has happened. So you see, I have an invitation that Mobahood, he's requesting me to start collaborating in his project. So if I click on view invitation, I can go ahead and approve it. So when I approve, okay, so this is another account, the same account. When I approve it, then I'll be able also to start contributing to this particular project. So that's what you'll all do. You'll invite me to your project. So if you skip that bit, you'll have to find a way how you do that. So that's how you invite a person. So now if you're so many and working on the same project, you can start contributing together. Now I've shown you how you can publish changes, how you can commit, how you can push the changes to to online version. Now let's say that I've started even working. Okay, I've started working. So when I start working, for example, this is a loop. I want to comment. Okay, I want to say maybe this is printing. I can comment like this and say printing inside the loop. So this is a new change. Okay, this is a new change. What I do, I just simply save. After saving, after creating a lot of changes, I have to send these copies online. Someone should mute their microphone. I have to send these changes online so that my colleagues who are working on this project, they get these changes. So instead of you coming again back to GitHub and the rest, you see, GitHub can even tell you what you exactly changed and what you added and what you removed. You see, you can see it from here. So if instead of coming here to GitHub again and I push Visual Studio, if you're logged into Visual Studio, you can simply click push from here. Okay, so I can come and say added a new comment, something like that, and then I say commit and then say sync. So sync, it will push and pull at the same time. So when I say sync, it will push. So if I come here and refresh again my project, I'll be able to see. I come to the project, I'll be able to see the file that has just been changed right now, which is this one. So I think it has not changed. Has it finished? My internet is so slow. So it has finished. So you see, if I refresh, I can see this file was last changes at the initial comment. This was changed at first comment, first changes. So you can even see the last time when it was changes, and you can see this one, the one that has just been changed with what? With this comment. So when I click on that file, I can even be able to see what was changed. You see, I can see this was added, this was the green line, the red line that was affected, and the change that was done. So you can go ahead and play with that. But the main point here, if I click on the file, I can now see the changes. So that is the most effective way on how you can collaborate with each other. Other than again compressing the whole file, send a zip. The other guy downloads the zip and make changes and they send you back. You see, it can become really problematic to work in a team. But when you start working in projects, when you start coming to real world projects, you will work in teams. Companies work in a team. You find a certain project, there are 10 developers working on it. So how will you manage if you don't know GitHub? You get it? If you don't get it, don't forget about it. Okay, so that is how we do it. We collaborate. Now, now the other thing that I now need to show you is the cloning. Okay. Now your team has added. Your team member or your team leader has added you to the project, and you need to get a copy of this project on your computer so you can start contributing to the project. So that process of getting the project from the website or from the application, from GitHub, and put it to your computer, that is what we call cloning. It is very important project. It's very important what? A very important process. We have seen how we can publish. So now you need to have a copy of that project to your computer, right? Then we need to clone it. So to clone, it is also simple. Just simply navigate to that project or go to that project and then click on code. Or maybe you have changed to the computer, you want to start working from another computer. Instead of you copying the files, putting them on flash disk no. If they're on GitHub, just simply clone them to another computer. You'll have exactly the same pieces of code on that particular computer. So to clone, you just simply click on that link, click on code, and then click on this clone, the copy link, and then come to your GitHub, you see, and then come to file and say clone. You'll find clone, the shortcut Ctrl+Shift+O, clone. So when you click on clone, so there are different ways of how you can clone. First of all, if I'm already logged in, they will show me the files that are already there. Okay, if I'm working under a company, I can use the enterprise one. Now, but for us, we want to clone using a link. So you click on URL, okay? Paste there, and then specify the folder where you want to clone this project, and then click on clone. Once you do that, it will process, and it will get the exact same project and create it in what? In a certain folder, and you can resume working. Or if you're a team, you can get exact same piece of code from the other team member, and you can also start contributing to it. So that is what's meant by clone, and that's how we clone. Okay? So the other thing that I would like you to know is what we call pooling. So assume that this change has just been made on remote. By the way, you can also edit from GitHub. So let me say I've come to remote here. You see, I've come to remote. You guys look at this very carefully. I've come to remote, so maybe this is another computer or anywhere, but the point is I'm going to edit from remote. So I've come to remote, and I click on edit this file, because a text file I can edit, and boom, I'm going to delete this comment. Can you see? I've deleted it. So let us say this is another contributor or another friend who is working on the same project. So instead of maybe your comment did not make sense, you can delete it, something like that. So I've deleted it. Okay? So after deleting, I have to save the changes and I commit. So since I'm on GitHub web, so I will not need to push again. So I'll go ahead and put my comment here, maybe removed comment, removed useless comment. Okay, removed comment. I commit. Okay, so that I commit, so it means that the changes have been removed. You see. So I hope you're together there. So you can see that this comment, this file, if I click on it, it no longer has the comment because it has just been removed. And if I click on remove comment, can you see? I can be the comment itself. If I click on the comment itself, I can be able to trace, and I see how this file, the process has been going through. Wait and see. So I'm going to just show. I want to show you just how you can press. Can you see? The comment was added, and then later the comment was removed. So that is it. Now, this comment is still on maybe my friend's computer, or it is still on my machine, on the server, or I mean on GitHub. But remember, this comment has not been, I mean my source code have not been what? Have not been updated, okay? So if I want to update, I can simply come to my GitHub software and I click on fetch, okay? So fetch will bring new updates. Or the other way, I can go to my terminal, okay? The terminal, and I click on pull, and I create a pull request, okay? I mean, I pull the changes. So to pull changes, you just simply write git pull. By the way, you should have to practice these small commands, so that you should know them. So I want you to observe this, I want you to observe this. Remember, online, we have deleted it. So let me go ahead and pull here, so that means that I'm pulling the changes. When I pull, so it has been pulled. Can you see? Can you see the magic, guys? The comment has disappeared. So that's the whole point. You can work as a team. So when the team changes a specific file in a specific place, when you just refresh, or when you just simply pull, you get all the updates or all the changes without too much hassle, tracing this, tracing that. So that's how much we need GitHub in our what? In our development. You may not get the whole sense now, but please don't be biased. Just try to practice it. When you practice like on 3 different projects and you see that it still does not make sense, then leave it, give up on it, and then continue doing things the way you've been doing them. So that is how GitHub, that's how you can get started with GitHub, and that's how important GitHub is when you're working in real world with maybe multiple working on the particular project. So the assignment that I'll give you, I'll request you now to to create GitHub repositories on the file that you're using to practice, and add me as the contributor. Then I'll be able to tell that so and so has done up to this point, so and so has not done anything. And also use it. Start using it. It's not late. It's not early. It's not too early. I mean, it's not too late. You better start using it today, so that when you graduate and start expressing your career, you already know at least the idea of version or source code version control softwares. So that is it. We are going to go for our short break, and then we'll come back and we'll go straight into now practicals of that programming language. So unless there is anyone who may need to comment or give some remarks. Anyone, please. Be in this 1 minute. In this 1 minute, if you want to say something, put your arm up and you say something, and then we'll go for a break.